What's up guys, it's Ella. Welcome to my channel, whether you are new here or not. I forgot my intro. What's up guys, it's Ella. Welcome back to my... today we are... What's up guys, it's Ella. Welcome to my channel, whether you are new here or not. Today we are going to be talking about all of the book series that I have yet to finish. I have a confession. I am a chronic series starter. I start so many series and I finish very few series. And as you will see in this video, it doesn't matter if it's a romance series with like companion novels, it doesn't matter if it's a fantasy series, it doesn't matter if there's a cliffhanger, it doesn't matter, I don't finish. And for a really long time, I would barely even start series because I wasn't interested. And then recently I have been more and more interested in book series, like various book series, specifically fantasy series, and like just I see a lot of recommendations for them and I want to participate. I want to know the hype. So I am trying to get better about reading series. I will say my least favorite thing is when someone like recommends a series and says like the first book isn't that great but then the series gets really good. Well, I don't want to have to suffer through a bad first book to get to a good rest of the series. I hate that. And that might be the case with a lot of these. I have a list on my phone of series that I don't know if you can see, series that I need to finish. You could not see. You could not see that. That's okay. I'm gonna read them to you and tell them to you. Let's get started. I'm gonna move over so you can, because a lot of them are Kindle Unlimited book series, because book series are just so easy to start on Kindle Unlimited and then not finish. Yeah. The first book on this, or the first series in this video, there we go, is the Lark Cove. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Lark Cove series by Devney Perry. I've read the first two books of this series and I forget. So the first one is Tattered and the second one is Timid. I don't remember either of these books. I don't remember Tattered. I don't remember Timid. I think at one point, one of them, I want to say the first one is about this woman who got pregnant after a one-night stand in a hotel in New York City, was never able to find the father of, or like the man she had the one-night stand, aka the father of her child, and then she moves back to her small hometown to like raise this child, and like, because that's where her support system is, and eventually the father of her child shows up in the restaurant she works in. And I want to say that's Timid, but I'm not positive. It might be Tragic. Could not tell ya. Don't know. I don't know. I was in a really big Devney Perry phase in the beginning of 2023. I'm not really in that phase anymore, but if I'm ever in the mood for a good small town romance, I will definitely pick up one of the Devney Perry series that I'm going to be talking about today. She does write really great small town romances, but they get really repetitive after a while, I feel like. And it was a goal of mine for a while to read all of Devney Perry's backlist, which is like 40 something books if you count her Will and Ash books. And I don't know if that is any longer a priority of mine. Maybe it's something I'll do at some point. Maybe. But her books just get so repetitive and they kind of, after a while, put me into a book slump because I was just reading the same book over and over and over again. So, I don't know when I will pick this series back up. I believe there's 5 books in the series total. And the other ones, like, I didn't really care about any of the characters, like the side characters that the other books would be about, so I just didn't feel the need to pick them up. But maybe I will later. Series is a series that I cannot believe I haven't finished yet, and like sitting here filming this, I'm thinking maybe I should just suck it up and finish it today. It is the Mind Blank series by S.T. Abbey. It is technically a series of like 500 some page novellas. Here's my thing with this series. I've read the first 3, okay? So I should just finish out and read the last 2, and maybe I'll do that this week or today even. I don't know. My issue with this series is that I keep waiting. I'm gonna do this non-spoilery. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop in this series. I expect it every single book, and the other shoe refuses to drop. It has not dropped, and I know that at this point I know that the other shoe is going to drop in the last book, and the anxiety that it gives me waiting for that thing that I know is inevitable to happen stresses me out. Anyway, this series is about a serial killer girl. She kills people for like a good reason, but she's still a serial killer. Cool motive, still murder. It's Lana, who is a serial killer. And she ends up falling in love with the FBI agent who is on her case. Like, I definitely will finish this series probably very soon. It stresses me out. It gives me anxiety. Up next we have the Bailey Brothers series by Claire Kingsley. I actually had every intention of reading this series just in full. Again, I was kind of coming out of my Devney Perry phase, but I wanted other really good small town romances. This series was recommended. It is about 5 brothers who live in a small town, and there's like a rival with another family in the small town, and there's like the mystery behind why there's the rivalry. But here's the thing, I don't care. Didn't care about the rivalry at all. The first book is like a novella. Second book is a continuation of the romance of the characters from the novella. Those books irritated me, but I was kind of intrigued by the second one because it was like, I was kind of intrigued by the second one because it was about the brother that intrigued me the most. So I liked that book, and then I started to read the 4th book and DNF'd it. Just so boring. And I didn't care about either of the characters in the slightest. So I don't know that I will continue with the series. It's doubtful. It's doubtful that I'll continue with the series. But, you know, never say never. If anybody loves the series and thinks that I should continue it, let me know. Up next, we have the Clifton Forge series by Devney Perry. This is the first book. This is Steel King. I have read the first book. I've read the second book. The reason that I read the first book and second book is because... Okay, I'll jump back. Explain. This book, the series, is about a small town in Montana that was once kind of overrun with this motorcycle club that one day just completely shut down. And no one knows why they completely shut down. It just kind of like, they closed the club doors, opened up their own car garage, and they were like, okay, we're done now. And that was odd to a lot of people, but everyone was relieved, so they just kind of let it go. Until this girl, what's her name? Bryce. Her name is Bryce. She moves from Seattle to the small town because her parents live there, and she gets a job working for the newspaper that her family's owned for like ever. And she does not just let it go. She has questions about why the club kind of died. In her research, she comes across the president, or like the former president of the motorcycle club, who does not want her sniffing around in their business, and then it's their romance. The reason that I read the first 2 books is because there's a mystery that starts in this book and then goes into the second book pretty seamlessly, and I needed to know the ending, the resolution to the mystery. And then I think the rest of the books there is no mystery, and so I care less. However, this will probably be the next, this will probably be the next Devney Perry series that I finish. More Devney Perry. As I said, I went through a Devney Perry phase. This is the Coppersmith Farmhouse by Devney Perry. This is my least favorite Devney Perry book I have ever read. It is about this woman. What is her name? Her name is Gigi. One of her patients was an old man who she befriended through her job as a nurse. They became so close that this old man left her a house in his will. And the house is in a small town in Montana because Devney Perry has a niche, and she's gonna stick with the niche. One thing, the niche is niching as far as Devney Perry is concerned. This woman goes to Jameson Valley. Yep. Jameson Valley to live in this house, but there's a guy who is like the caretaker of the house. He's also the chief of police because, of course he is. He's the chief of police, and he's like a caretaker for this house, and he's very upset that Gigi is there. His name is Jess, and I hate him. I hate Jess. Jess decided that he and Gigi were dating. Gigi got very little say in the matter, and I found that upsetting. One day he was just like, we're an item, and she said, ooh, I have a daughter. I don't know, like, if I'm really ready, you know, I just moved, I got divorced, like this significant person in my life just died, left me this house, I got a lot going on, Jess. And he said, that's okay, we're good together. we'll date. And then she's just like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, I guess we'll date. No. The second, nope, this is so far from the second. The next series that I need to finish is the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. I've read Throttled and I've started the second book. I don't know what the second book's even called. Redeemed? No, Redeemed's the third one. Oh, Collided. I've started Collided multiple times and I just never get into it, which is so frustrating because I love Formula One. Like, I Drive to Survive is like my comfort show. I watch the races with, like, I follow all the Instagram accounts. I love Formula One. So to not to not love this book series because the romance, it's frustrating. But I hear like it gets better. I don't know. So I'll probably try Collided again shortly. It's been like sitting on my mind. Another small town romance series that I did finish, Honey Mountain by Laura Pavlov. If you receive small town romance recommendations on TikTok at all, Laura Pavlov has come up and I have been wanting to give her a try. So I tried the first book in her Honey Mountain series that I cannot remember the name of at this specific time. It was good. It really was good. I don't think, well, I can't really remember a plot, so there's that. I just don't know that it was super memorable, clearly, as I do not remember a plot. But I do remember, I think I gave it like a 4 stars. Like it was a good, fun little time that I had. It was just incredibly unmemorable. So when I'm looking for a book that I just want a good time, if I just want like a book to sit and binge in like a day, I will pick this series back up. Next, we have a series that I started in my last video, and that is the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. I read Brutal Prince in my last series I read Brutal Prince in my last video, and I said that I was going to continue the series, and I stand by that. That was a good book. It was fun. It was a good time. There are other characters whose romances I would be interested in reading. There's 5 more books in the series, and I will slowly but surely get through it, I think. Next we have, I don't know if this is the name of the series or the name of the book, but Whispers of You by Catherine Cowles is the first book in the series. I liked this book enough. It's romantic suspense, and I liked the suspense part of the romantic suspense. I didn't like the romantic part of the romantic suspense. Whispers of You is about this couple. They were like really good friends. Nope, they were not really good friends. They were a couple. They were like the it couple all throughout high school, all throughout, growing up together. And then one day the guy is 15 minutes late for a date, and he comes with the girl, and he comes to her house 15 minutes late to pick her up and finds her shot in her bathroom, which is upsetting. No? He finds his girlfriend shot in the bathroom, and they find out who did it, they think, but and then the guy in this book leaves her for 10 years. He's like, he sticks around through the recovery, but then he has guilt so strong about being 15 minutes late to the date that he leaves, and then he comes back and it's like a second chance romance. I just didn't like that because I was like, I don't know that I could forgive him. I don't know that I could forgive him. So I got interrupted 6 times in the middle of recording that synopsis. The next series is also one that you saw me read in my last video if you watched that, and it is the rest of the Darkverse series by Renegades. I read the first book, which was The Predator. Definitely want to read the second one, which is The Reaper, because it is a continuation of the first book. It's the same couple, and the mystery that the suspense aspect that begins in the first book it continues in the second. It isn't resolved in the first, so it kind of leaves you on a little bit of a cliffhanger. That's that. I have the Dreamland Billionaire series that I have not finished. It's by Lauren Asher. This series, if you haven't seen it, which I feel like everybody's either seen it, everybody's definitely seen it around, but it is about this family, these 3 brothers specifically, and their grandfather owned Disney World, basically. And when the grandfather died, he put in his will that each brother has to complete a series, it has to complete a certain task in their life to receive their inheritance. So this one, for example, is about Rowan and Zara, And Rowan was the business side of things. Like he was the CFO, I think. OO, I don't know. He did the money stuff. He didn't do like the whimsical Disneyland stuff. And the grandfather said that he had to go for 6 months and run the park, like the theme park. And he ends up falling in love. I think the second guy has to get married and have a kid. I don't know what the third guy has to do, but he has to sell like the childhood lake house, I think I want to say. I've only read the first one. I liked the first one, but I started reading the second one and DNF'd it. Started reading Terms and Conditions and I DNF'd, and I don't know if I feel the desire to pick it up. I don't know, everybody loves it, so maybe I will. Then we have the Hoops series by Kennedy Ryan. These are a series of basketball romances. So this one is about this basketball player named August who has always had this lifelong basketball enemy. They have been competing against each other. They like grew up together, been competing against each other since they were in diapers and were playing little toddler basketball. Like they've always been enemies. One day, August is set to play that guy in college, and the night before the game, he goes to a bar to kind of unwind and relax his nerves and gets talking to a girl there named Iris. Iris and August really get along. August then finds out Iris is the mortal enemy, whose name I can't even remember, and honestly, I don't really care what his name, Caleb. His name is Caleb. It's Caleb's girlfriend. And the check trigger warnings for this book in particular. I don't know about the rest of them because I haven't read the rest of them. I think they all revolve around like basketball players or people in the basketball world. I don't know. But the first book was really good. Wasn't the happy-go-lucky little basketball romance that you think based on this cover. No, it was not. No, it was not. Anyway. Next, we have fantasy slash... Did you like how I just tried to tuck my hair and there was no hair to tuck? Next, we have all of my fantasy slash dystopian books. There's only one dystopian, and that's Shatter Me. I've read the first Shatter Me book and then the first Shatter Me novella because it was all in the same bind up, and I can't find it somewhere. I have it somewhere. I cannot find my Shatter Me book. But, I didn't like the first Shatter Me book, and everybody, this is one of those series that I was talking about at the beginning of this video that everybody says is so phenomenal and so amazing, and like, oh, you just have to get past the first couple books. I don't want to get through past the first couple books. I want to enjoy my time reading the first couple books. I want to get into this, I don't know. So everybody and their mother loves the series, so maybe I'll read it at some point, but it's also just like so many books. It's so many books. I don't know. It's been on my list to continue that series forever, and I've just never wanted to. And so I haven't. Next, we have From Blood and Ash. I have a reading vlog from I think a year ago of reading this book. It's a fantasy, it's a big fantasy by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and it's about this girl. It was really popular a couple years ago. It's about this girl named Poppy, who is the maiden in this world, which means that she has a very specific set of rules that she has to follow, and she's like chosen from the gods or something. Like I said, it's been over a year since I've read this. But she's like chosen from the gods, and she has a very specific set of rules that she has to follow, and she's a bodyguard. It's her romance with the bodyguard. There's a massive twist at the end. And I would love to continue this series, but again, it's so long, and I've heard very mixed things about the rest of the series, so I don't know, but this book was so phenomenal. I gave it 5 stars. It brought me back to when I was 12 years old and reading like reading City of Bones for the first time, or with my first reading of A Court of Thorns and Roses. Like that time, that when you're starting like a really good fantasy series, that feeling you get, yeah, that's this. I got that from this. So you'd think that I'd want to continue it, but I'm so scared that the rest of the series isn't going to live up to the hype. But again, it's on my list of books the series to finish soon. This one will be finished, or continued, I guess, sooner rather than later. Next, we have The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and like that's the Atlas series. I think there's 2 or 3 books out in the series now. I don't know if there's going to be more. I haven't continued the series for a silly reason. So this is the indie published the indie published cover that before this book became traditionally published. I bought this book and read this book. And now it's traditionally published, and so they don't have an indie cover or like a cover that matches this for the rest of the books. And so I have not bought them. I look at them every time I go to Barnes & Noble and I try to picture like this cover next to the cover covers I currently have, and I'm just like, no, I can't. And so that's why I haven't read this one. I know that's ridiculous. I know that's ridiculous, and I know I should get over my bad self and just read the rest of the series, and I will, because I really did enjoy this book. This series is about 6 people. It's like a world where some people have magical powers. 6 like magical people who are like the best at their type of magic in the world are supposed to compete for a place in the Alexandrian Society. So this is a world where the Library of Alexandria never burnt down, and the Alexandrian Society is a group of people that are set to protect the Alexandrian Society, or the Library of Alexandria and all of its knowledge. 6 people compete in this competition to be inducted into the Alexandrian Society. Only 5 people are able to be inducted. 1 person gets eliminated. It's a good time. Then we have the Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I only really like read this book because I listened to it on audio. That's it. That's the only way I got through this. I was looking for a book. I was going on a long car drive. I was going on a long drive by myself, and I was like, okay, I want a book to read or a book to listen to, and this one was available in my library, and I owned the physical copy because someone a long time ago said that if you really enjoyed Six of Crows, which I did, you would really enjoy this book. So I said, okay, and picked it up, and then I tried to read it a couple times and just never was able to get through it. I did enjoy this book. It was a good time. It was a good listening experience, and I will probably listen to the rest of the series. Last but not least, we have the Renegades series by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book. I've talked about this series a lot on my channel. I'm struggling to finish it because I love the concept, but I find the actual books pretty boring. This book is about a girl named Nova. Her uncle was killed. Her uncle was the head anarchist villain who was killed in a battle with the Renegades, superheroes, 10 years prior to the start of this book. So she was raised by renegades, and she was raised by anarchists, and the anarchists that she was raised by want her to go to and infiltrate the renegades and be a spy. And it sounds really fun and like a good time, but the second book especially is very boring and put me into a book slump. But I would like to finish the series. I don't know why, I would just like to finish it. Those are all of the book series that I have to finish, or that I haven't finished and would potentially like to at some time in the not so far future. Please tell me which ones you've read and you think out of this selection I should continue with first. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined, and I will see you when I see you. Bye guys.